Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, in this insightful session of the National Conference on Mathematics Education 2 or SEMANTIK 2, allow me to thank to this opportunity that has given to me to present the article entitled An Analysis of the Scaffolding Process in the Similarity and Congruency of Triangles module for 9th grade students, written by me, Aulia Rahmat, and Miss Dita Putih Saraswati. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are going to move to the body of the presentation. According to Van Hill 1973 in Burger and Saugnesi 1986, there are 4 levels of geometric thinking development. Level 0 for visualization, Level 1 for analysis, Level 2 to abstraction, Level 3 for deduction, and Level 4 for the academic rigor. In secondary schools, students are expected to develop their geometric thinking in Level 3, where they can start to determine and explain ideas about congruence and similarity using deductive reasoning. However, there are still cases where students may still be in level 0 or 1. And then, according to Vygotsky 2011, when students learn something, there will always be a zone of proximal development or ZPD, which is a gap between their actual development level and the level of their potential development when guided by someone who is more expert in the field. And then in the process of teaching and learning mathematics, scaffolding means teachers as the more knowledgeable other builds progressively higher platforms of mathematical knowledge and skill, which can allow the students to access more advanced mathematics by Hunter 2012. Next, the three main aspects of scaffolding are sense-making, articulation and reflections, and managing investigation and problem-solving process by Quintana et al. 2004. So the case is started during the COVID-19 pandemic. Learning that usually happened through face-to-face offline modes need to be conducted online by Herliandri et al. 2020, Irhandanisi 2020, Mustaqim 2020, and Damayanti 2020. It is true that in some cases, students still meet their teacher through online conference session, but there are also cases where students had to do self-study. The process of learning a subject independently without limited interaction with teacher is called self-study. This is the definition from Minar 2010. And then there are also cases where students have limited access to technological devices such as laptops and computers. The data is from Damayanti 2020. When this happened, the students had to study using any accessible resources they could find, and often they must do self-study. Students still need to be scaffolded. However, the process of scaffolding itself, students should be modified in a way that is different from how it's done during offline face-to-face sessions. So finally, the module of kesebangunan and kongruenan segitiga untuk kelas 9 or the module of similarity and congruency of triangles for 9th grade students has been designed by integrating Indonesian cultural context as the bridge to help students make connections between the mathematical ideas related to the congruence and similarity, and also the cultural artifacts that they find in their everyday life. Next, here is the research objectives to describe and analyze the parts of the module that include each of the three main parts of scaffolding process. And then for the research question is, does the kesebangunan and kekongruenan segitiga untuk kelas 9 include the three main scaffolding process, which include the opportunities for students to focus on sense making, articulation and reflections, and managing investigation and problem solving process. Next, the method of this research use the content analysis. So the process including the reading the module and identifying the main parts of the scaffolding process. Now we move to the overview about the module on similarity and incongruency of triangles by integrating Indonesian cultural context for 9th grade students. So the module was designed for self-study purposes, and then put it several aspects of Indonesian cultural artifacts such as textiles, traditional houses were used in the module. And then the module is designed as printed module that can be used especially for students with limited access to the technology. And this module consists of 77 pages that consists of 4 main chapters. So the chapters, the title of each chapters and its learning objectives can be seen in the table in the right of the slide of the presentation. This is the portrait to the module that explain the examples of the scaffolding process that are incorporated into the module. So the first one is the opportunities for students to focus on sense making. So basically some activities were designed to bridge students to make meanings of congruence and similarity by giving students the opportunity to analyze pictures and cultural artifacts and things found in everyday life that show congruent and similarity triangles. So there are 3 examples here of the activities that focus on sense making. The first one is students are asked to identify examples of triangles that are mirip or sama, which is can be seen in the figure 1.a. Then they are given a different figure where they asked to identify triangles that are sangat mirip or sama persis. So this case can be seen in the figure of 1.b. So both of these activities allow students to use everyday language and not formal mathematics language such as similarity and congruence. By doing this, students have the opportunity to make connection between their everyday language with new mathematical knowledge and terms. And then the second one is after having the experience of identifying congruent and similar triangles, although not knowing the formal mathematical term for the concepts, so they are explicitly introduced to the definition of congruence and similarity. Then they identify congruent and similar triangles again. However, they then use the more formal language such as the example that we can see in the figure 2.a and figure 2.b. Here students can learn to make sense of the ideas and meanings of the terms of congruency and similarity by making connections to their previous knowledge. And the last one, students may find examples of triangles that are alike or similar, trace the outer lines of the triangle. This is can be seen in the figure 1. Next portrait is to the opportunities for students to focus on articulation and reflections. So opportunities for students to focus on articulation can be seen when students are asked to explain their thinking, including in their own words. On the other hand, the process of reflection can be seen when students can rethink their learning process. So several parts in the module that give students the opportunity to focus on articulation and reflection can be seen in the slides. Consists of 4. The first one is students are asked to write down the meaning of congruence and similarities. of triangles in their own words. In the module, it is in on the page 22. And then the second one is students are encouraged to explain the differences and similarities between geometric figures that are in pictures. Can be found in the module pages number 23 to 27. And the third one is students are also asked to summarize the main concepts of similarity and congruency. Can be seen in the right of the slides, which is figure number 3. And then the last one is students are also given an opportunity to reflect on their own learning by explaining the new things that they learned that they did not know about before, parts of the learning process that interest them, and things that they did not understand, which is it can be seen the activity for the figure number 4. The last one portrait is about the opportunities for students to manage investigation and problem solving processes. So several activities in the module that provide students the opportunities to manage investigation and problem solving processes are consist of consists of 4. First one is students are given point out of a tangram where they are asked to cut the tangram into pieces, which is based on the shape of the tangram that has already written. And then the second one is students are asked to use the shapes to construct a new triangle that is congruent or similar to other triangles. From the tangram, it can be seen in the figure 5 in here. And then the third one is they are given an example that exemplifies how to use theorems of congruence and similarities to explain how similar or congruent the newly constructed triangle is in comparison with other triangles. So this activity can be seen in the figure number 6. And the last one is student practice using mathematical theorems to explain the congruence and similarity of triangles of everyday life objects that can be seen in the figure number 7. Now we jump to the discussion of the research. So the similarity and congruency of triangles module for non-grad students was designed using the understanding by design framework by Wiggins and McTighe 2011, and was not designed by considering the 3 main aspects of scaffolding actually, which are sense making, articulation and reflections, and managing investigation and problem solving processes by Quintana et al. 2004. So this possibly happens because designing a module using understanding by design is usually done by carefully considering the scaffolding process and dividing the main learning objectives such as transfer, enduring, understanding essential question into more detailed objectives or knowledge and skills. And then the objective related to the knowledge and skills that must be measurable and supported by assessments in line with its goals. So these objectives include sense making, articulation and reflection, and managing investigation and problem solving. So according to Chang et al. 2002, in terms of skills through scaffolding, students are able to perform their own tasks, which is in line with Holton and Carr 2006, which stated that scaffolding can stimulate student activity in the zone of proximal development or ZPD. In addition, this research is also supported by research conducted by Iswara 2012 and Setyawati 2012, which state that using scaffolding can improve student learning outcomes, also based on the result of Sari and Surya 2017 research using scaffolding produce effective learning outcomes. Finally, we come up with the conclusion. So the analysis shows that the module has provided students with the opportunity for scaffolding parts of the module give opportunities for students to make sense of the concept of congruence and similarity by ensuring the students can make connection with everyday objects related to the concept. Students are given opportunities for articulation and reflection by allowing them to explain their understanding of congruence and similarity using their own language and comparing it to the more formal mathematical terms. Students are also given opportunities to manage and investigate problem-solving processes by constructing congruence and similarity triangles and explaining the relationship among triangles using mathematical theorems. That's it for the presentation. Thank you.